Friends, the Jewish scholar who celebrated today's new month of Kislev in northern Spain in the 13th century, he's known as Nachmanides. He said that every single part of the Jewish faith tradition, every ritual act, whether lighting candles, praying, or learning Torah, is intended for two purposes: either repairing and improving yourself or exercising compassion for others. So the question, therefore, as we begin this month today, leading to Hanukkah 3 weeks from Sunday, is not simply, are you going to go to the Hanukkah marketplace on Sunday morning and buy your candles? Are you going to light the Hanukkah candles every night? But rather, the question with Nachmanides in mind is, how will lighting these Hanukkah candles help restore and improve you on the inside, while also increase your compassion for others on the outside? Are these lights at the darkest time of the year motivating sparks, reigniting your inner life, and inspiring you to exercise greater compassion to every human soul you encounter? Or is it just simply going to be going through the motions? This week's Torah portion, Toldot, Genesis 25 through 28, is usually discussed in terms of sibling rivalry, introducing us to Jacob and Esau. But an overlooked big idea from this week, and most weeks in Genesis, is that there are no perfect people in the Torah. Jacob is sneaky. He can be deceptive. It's a trait that he learned from his mother. Esau is lambasted as a tough hunter who doesn't have much to say. But let's be fair to him, since his hunting was for the sole purpose of bringing food to his dad, Isaac. Esau is a far better human being than we often give him credit for, even if he too isn't perfect. But he's an expert at honoring his father, flawed as he was. In answering the disturbing question of why Jacob, a cheat and a thief, was chosen to carry on the covenant that we're still a part of, his grandfather Abraham, the Jewish people, my dear family friend and colleague of blessed memory, Rabbi Samuel Karf, I think gave the best, most eloquent answer on why Jacob, if Jacob and Esau are both flawed human beings. He writes, and I quote, "God must choose between someone like Esau, who cares so little about this Jewish birthright that he was willing to throw it away for a quick meal, and someone who cared about it so much, like Jacob, who was willing to cheat in order to get it." In other words, God decided it was better to care too much than too little. Jewish history has gotten this far because of those Jews like Jacob who are passionate and care about Judaism and the Jewish people, not because of those who are willing to throw it away. But let's cut all our biblical heroes and the one who you may have heard vilified, Esau, let's cut them some slack. Our heroes in Judaism are human because God created us all that way. as we enter this season of light, may we remember that God does not need light. God does not need our prayers. It's we who need it. And it's we who want light. Similarly, Judaism in general is not something we do for God. That's the way religion is portrayed. We do religion for God. No. Judaism is something we do because there is a God who gives us life and who enables us to enjoy countless blessings in life despite all the heartache, all the challenge, all the times of darkness. As Nachmanides reminds us, we still have the choice in every act, ritually or ethically, to improve ourselves, no matter what our age, or exercise compassion for others. We can always increase delight. Did you know that the main stipulation for building a synagogue, sanctuary, is that it must have windows so that you can see the world outside in need of your compassion, and so that you can let light in too. Okay, so it took us 50 years in this space, which is one of the many things that makes Vision 2026 so meaningful. Synagogue windows, we're told, must radiate light. The Hebrew phrase is mibifnim hachutza, from within the temple to the world outside. But the brightness and quality of our spiritual life, inside or outside temple, doesn't depend on what God needs or wants, and not at all on what's going on outside of us. The brightness and quality of our spiritual life depends entirely on the lights inside you and me. And this thought applies to each of us individually as well as collectively. This beautiful temple was not designed or created 7 years before the Civil War in 1854 to be a museum that people visit to examine relics of an obsolete past. Even our Temple Israel Museum, with the president of it in our midst in the congregation tonight, is meant to be a living experience, a lived experience. The synagogue is meant to challenge our conscience and radiate action, to remind us of what Jewish faith requires us to do and to be. Like the symbol of the eternal light above the ark, this is a place that constantly sends out signals to a troubled world, and that because of God, other people deserve our help and support and our own personal sacrifice. I want to close with a brief geography lesson as our congregational trips to Israel resume next year, 2026, with the same amazing people who have been leading us for over 30 years, including a Temple Women's Mission led by Rabbi Leah Sternberg and Eleanor Talley Steinberg. There are only two major bodies of water in Israel, as many of you know firsthand. One of them, the Sea of Galilee in the north. It's always fresh and alive. The other is in the south, which is always lifeless. What do we call it? The Dead Sea. Both of them are linked together by the same stream called the River Jordan. So why, people ask, is one of these sources so fresh and alive and the other not? The answer is the simple fact that the Galilee in the north gives of itself to the waters in the south. But the Dead Sea, the Yam HaMelech, it takes everything. It gives nothing. We learn from this teaching that the secret of living with light is to become a source of life and light, like the Galilee, and not simply a dead recipient, like the Dead Sea. Becoming a source of light and not simply a recipient is what it means to be a Jew. May each of us become sources of life and light from generation to generation. Because as I close this week's Haftorah prophet, the last of the prophets, Malachi, reminds us, and it's on your sheets on the back side, that the Messianic age will only happen. Elijah will only return to announce the end of war, darkness, hate, pain, when the light inside parents and children are turned to one another in love. As Eleanor sings these words, you'll find that Hebrew promise in translation on the handout just for this night of light. Amen.